Angela.
I'm Leah.
And we out here.
Today, we're visiting one of the most powerful historic sites in Washington, D.C., which is the home of one of America's greatest leaders, Frederick Douglass. So, the home is where Douglass lived in the final years of his life and where his legacy still speaks loud and clear today. Frederick Douglass purchased this home in 1877 and he lived here until his death in 1895. The Frederick Douglass National Historic Site, also known as Cedar Hill, has two components. There's the home and there's the visitor center, which you're seeing now. You will likely visit the visitor center before or after touring his home. In the center, you'll have the opportunity to watch a short film about his life. You can purchase items from the gift store. You can see photos, relics, and artifacts about Frederick Douglass's life, his accomplishments as well. The best part is that admission to both is free, which is remarkable given what's inside, okay? So the property spans about 8.5 acres, and today it's managed by the National Park Service. It includes the main house, the grounds, and a small stone building out in the back called, which Douglas called his growlery. This was his private study and his retreat where he would go to read, write, and think, and you'll see that at the end of this video. So let's take a moment to talk about the man himself because if you didn't know, the full arc of his life, the house won't hit as hard. So Frederick Douglass was born into slavery around 1818 on the plantation in Maryland. He never knew his exact birthday, and that was one of the many things that slavery stole from him. So his mother was an enslaved woman named Harriet Bailey, and his father was almost certainly a white man and possibly his mother's enslaver. So, as a child, he was sent to Baltimore to work as a house servant, and it was there that something happened that would change the course of history. He learned how to read. He taught himself how to read, right? He would trick boys into young white boys, like he would give them food and say stuff like, "Oh, I bet you can't read this," and then learning from that as they were teaching him how to read. So first, he learned how to read from the wife of his enslaver, and then he was ordered to stop, and then he continued learning on his own, trading bread for reading lessons with poor white children in the streets. He later wrote, "Once you learn to read, you will be forever free," and that's what he meant because literacy became his weapon. In 1838, at around 20 years old, he escaped slavery by disguising himself as a free black sailor and boarding a train north. He made it to New York and eventually to New Bedford, Massachusetts. From there, the story becomes almost unbelievable. He became a speaker for the abolitionist movement, captivating audiences around the United States and in Europe. He published his autobiography, The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, in 1845, one of the most important books in American history. He also founded an abolitionist newspaper called The North Star. He met with Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War, and that pushed him toward Lincoln toward emancipation. So he fought for women's rights. He became the first black man nominated for vice president of the United States, even though he did not win. And then after all of that, he came home to Cedar Hill, which you all are seeing now, his beautiful home. So the National Park Service offers guided tours of the interior, and I strongly recommend taking one. You can arrange for that online or you can try it in person, but they only will agree if they have space when you come in person. So if you do it ahead of time online, it's probably best. The rangers here are exceptional, knowledgeable, passionate, and full of stories that you won't find in any textbook. And a little bit later on, you'll be able to see one of the park rangers who gave us our tour. So when you step inside the main house, the first thing that strikes you is how personal everything feels. This isn't a recreated museum. This is the house, and it has a remarkable number of original furnishings and objects that actually belong to Douglas. Some of it did not, but a lot of it did. The parlor is where his guests are received. It reflects Douglas's status as a major public figure. He entertained politicians, activists, and intellectuals there. And the room is formal, elegant, and deliberate. It is from a man who had been told his whole life that he was less than human. So this is really important to him. He also had his own library, which was very nice. He was a great reader and a collector of books, and his personal library lines the walls here in this home. You'll see volumes of this history in his house. And so, as you're touring, as you're seeing everything, just take everything in. You'll see here, this is the kitchen and washroom area. And then coming up, you'll hear a little bit of what the tour guide has to say.
Anna Murray Douglas would make her famous Maryland biscuits. We do not have the recipe. She took that to the grave with her, but I'm sure we can find Maryland biscuits anywhere. So this here is the kitchen, this portion of the house once he moved in. A kitchen was very important to Douglas, and it wasn't just a place to prepare and eat food, but it had it had deeper and significant meaning to Douglas, and this just had to do with his background of being a formerly enslaved man and having to deal with food insecurity. He really believed in having a kitchen here in his house.
There are multiple bedrooms throughout the home. I don't remember which was which, but the interesting part is that at this time period, husband and wives slept in separate bedrooms. So you'll see that you'll see his bedroom. You'll also see a bedroom that he kept preserved from his first wife. When she died, no one is allowed to enter that room. And then his second wife also had a bedroom. And then they also had bedrooms for guests, okay? So the upstairs bedrooms give a sense of the domestic life that Douglas lived here with his family. He was married twice, first to Anna Murray, a free black woman who helped him escape slavery and supported him for decades. And even after her death, he married Helen Pitts, a white woman, which caused enormous controversy at the time. But his response was, and this is a quote, "My first wife was the color of my mother. My second wife is the color of my father." So that is pretty interesting, right? So he's saying that he's part white, he's part black, and he has a wife. He had a wife that was black, he had a wife that was white. So one that represented both of his identities, right? Now, the growlery out behind the main house, which you'll see here shortly, it's a small stone building that Douglas called his growlery. It's a term that he borrowed from Charles Dickens, who used it to describe a private retreat where one goes to growl and grumble in peace. Now, Douglas used it as a study and a personal sanctuary. It was a simple space with a desk, bookshelves, and a fireplace, but knowing that this is where he came to be alone with his thoughts to write and decompress from public life makes it feels almost sacred. There's something deeply human about all of this, right? So in general, Cedar Hill is very significant. Come see it if you come to DC. Also, like this video, comment down below, let us know what you think. If you plan on going, subscribe to our channel so you can get weekly videos from us, shorts multiple times a week, and consistent content, and stay up to date with our travels. Peace.
It's been sweet. Check us out next week
When we out here
in these streets. Peace.